One. Peace and blessings, love and light. This is Kim Martin Raymond, host of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. And welcome to another edition of our show. I'm so glad that you all are here with us as we talk about what's going on in the now. And tonight's show is entitled Abilities in the Disability Community. And this is a special group of people who I have had the opportunity to work with for over 20 years. And that is the disability community. And my guests who join me this evening are very special to my heart. One of them I've known over 20 years, and the other we've met more recently, but that is my spiritual sister. And the one thing that connects all of us is the disability community. So we want to dive right into that. And before we do, as customary with our How Now podcast, I'm going to have my guests to introduce themselves, because when they do, they have an opportunity to introduce themselves to the world in the manner in which they want to be received. So I will have them introduce themselves at this time.
Thanks, Kim. This is Diane, and like you said, we've known each other for quite a long time, more than we want to count, I suppose. But I have worked in the disability arena in the provision of community-based services to people with disabilities since I'll really date myself, since the late 70s, like about 1977. Wow. In South Florida, and then moved to Georgia in 94. And the rest of my career continues now in providing of services throughout Georgia. I'm a social worker by training and education. Mm-hmm. This work is my passion. I often joke and say, it's a good thing I don't get fired because I don't know how to do anything else. So I just love what I do, and I will keep doing it until they wheel me out of the place and say, get out of here.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you're right. We have quite a history. We have
yes,
quite a history.
Do.
And
yeah, I should have added that I'm presently I've worked with United Cerebral Palsy since 1984, some in South Florida and the rest of my career in Georgia, as I said. And I'm presently the president and CEO of United Cerebral Palsy of Georgia, as well as United Cerebral Palsy of South Carolina. And I also serve as the administrator of an association of providers who support people with disabilities around the state. So that's me.
Okay, well, it's my turn. I'm Norma Stanley, and I am a bunch of different things. I do a lot of things, but I am the mother of an adult daughter who was born with cerebral palsy, and that's how I got introduced to the disability population. And I am a caregiver. I am a disability community advocate. I do marketing communications geared towards helping companies reach the disability population. I am a singer, songwriter, author, speaker, a lot of different things. I am the producer of a television show called Disability World, because my mission is to help generate awareness about this population and how important it is and how viable it is and how able it is to do things that a lot of people don't realize. And so as a journalist, which is what I started doing out of college, that's my goal, is to really just share information and help to maximize the potential and heighten the quality of life for people with disabilities and families like mine. So that's what I do, and that's my passion.
Yes, I am so delighted that you both are here, Diane and Norma. I am, blessed to have seen your work in action on different levels, both personally and professionally. And we definitely are here to talk about something that is so critical that's happened. We've had a pandemic. We know that we have some people in the disability community that require, hands-on care. And all of a sudden, the world stopped. And, my thoughts were about that. I was coming out of the school system. I worked as a paraprofessional and an assistive technologist, and, spent a lot of time hands-on with the children. I worked one-on-one with a child that has cerebral palsy in an elementary school setting. And when everything shut down and the school shut down, I immediately thought of all of the many children that I've worked with, and I'm sure the adults that you work with, Diane, the group homes, the rehabilitation centers. What happened when the world stopped? We'll start with you, Diane. What
Oh
happened?
my goodness. Well, the world really stopped for us March 16th, where the individuals that we support, and I should say to give some context, the organization United Cerebral Palsy that I work with, we provide housing opportunities for individuals around the state in small group homes and independent living kinds of situations, as well as some daytime activities for people who want to engage in leisure, craft, learning opportunities of all sorts during the day, kind of, the Monday through Friday kind of routine. So the world stopped for us on the 16th when the national public health emergency was declared. And, like the week before, we're talking amongst our leadership team, word is that this is going to happen, things are going to shut down, and we're thinking, oh my goodness, how do we prepare the people we support who have varying degrees of intellectual and developmental disabilities, some with the ability to completely understand, that there was a sickness out there and we needed to help make sure that they stayed safe and healthy, and others who were really not necessarily able to cognitively process what was going on, but knew that their daily routines were changing.
Right.
So we went on lockdown. The 200 or more individuals that we support in living circumstances really have been home since March 16th.
Wow.
And literally, other than maybe an occasional doctor's appointment or such, have not gone out of the house. We've said you can go walk the neighborhood and that kind of stuff, be out in the fresh air, but we've really tried to keep them so safe because they are many of the people, and I think Norma might agree that they have other compromising conditions, co-occurring issues health-wise that make them at a particular risk. Right. So we've had to, say, you can't be out there. Plus, the governor's executive order for Georgia has said that people that live in long-term care settings are required to shelter in place. So for the population of people that we work with every day, we've had to keep them home and kind of re-gear and retool how we do things to keep people happy, engaged and entertained, stimulated, within the confines of the four walls of home. And then, of course, our advocacy for all others with disabilities, intellectual or otherwise, physical disabilities who are in the communities living at home, which Norma's real familiar about. How do you help them navigate all of that change? Because the world has become so restricted. So I would just sum that up and try to, I'm a yacker, so stop me whenever.
No, that's fine.
Is to say that I just had an interview with somebody doing a research study today out of Georgia State. There are folks' reactions to all of this is, the sense of isolation, a little bit of sadness, a little bit of antsiness. And this was what their research was showing about people with disabilities. I said, yeah, kind of like the rest of us, right?
Right.
So while it's different, it's the same, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. Now, the only question I have about that, though, is when you talk about staffing, I know that they had the rotations. How did that?
Oh my goodness. The heroes of our work always have been our direct support professionals, always. And in this instance, particularly so. You think about people who, the fact of the matter is that this is not a high wage, lucrative career for people. And it really, I kind of hate that notion of it kind of takes a special person, but it really does.
Right.
And particularly the day-to-day of providing real hands-on care in sometimes the most intimate parts of someone's life, from their personal hygiene to their ability to eat and whatever level of assistance they might need. So these people, we call direct support professionals, who come in and provide this care, running shifts 24/7, keep showing up. A lot of these folks have second jobs. They've got families to tend to, maybe multi-generational families of their own to tend to. So the remarkable and a heroic part about them is that they keep showing up, you know, and we've had homes that have become positive because our staff has had to live their lives. So they may have been exposed. So then they come to work and everybody else gets exposed, but they keep showing up, you know, and they keep doing the work with an enormous amount of kindness and support and energy. And I mean, really hundreds of the most remarkable people I've ever worked with in my career. I absolutely can say this.
Yes. Like you said, empathy is definitely a thing because, you know, we're all experiencing the same thing at the same time and have to, you know, be able to not discount anybody's feelings or emotions about it. And so I think that that's phenomenal that, you know, like you said, that they keep showing up, and that does make them very special people.
My goodness, remarkable.
Right. So like I said, that, with that being said, let's go to Norma, because Norma, like you said, you have a adult daughter, and I'm sure that she had activities that she was doing out of the house and you know, sheltering in place. What was your experience?
Sierra loved going to her day program, and that was part of her routine since she was 21. And so she's 32 now. So for her not to be able to go out every day, you know, she's, you know, intellectually disabled, and you know, she doesn't have the intellectual capacity of somebody her age. And so she realized after a while that we're not leaving as often as we used to, you know. And you know, so she got used to it after a little bit. She was taking more naps than she usually does. But in her day program, they didn't actually start doing, and they never really explained why, but they didn't actually start doing any programs online until August.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I know. I wasn't happy about that. And so, yeah, so they you know, so, and then they, you know, about an hour a day where, and she was used to the interaction and seeing her friends every day, and she liked that. You know, she is total care also. So just, you know, so I've been the one doing everything on the times when the caregiver is not here to help me do things that need to be done, because of the things that I do. I haven't been as active as I was prior to COVID, but I still try to get things done. So every now and then I do have to go to an in-person meeting because I sing every now and then. I do have to go someplace to sing, or, you know, whatever. So I have caregivers. One of the caregivers lives right around the corner within my subdivision. So she's been Sierra's caregiver since she was born.
Oh, wow.
So that's a blessing. So she's one of my caregivers, and the one who does respite is close by also. So that's a blessing. But you know, it changed my life, and it changed Sierra's life. But I have to say that it gave us a lot more time together. Even though I'm with her all the time. You know, she's always like coming into my room, you know, what you're doing. She doesn't talk. She says a few words. But when she comes into my room, I mean, she's bored and she wants to do something else. You know, she's not much of a television watcher. You know, I'll put on the kind of movie, anything that has music, she's just there. But if the music stops, then she's bored. And so I have to kind of put things on loop. Along with the singing, she's a happy camper. But the point is that, you know, it has changed, but at the same time, it was a blessed year for me because I was able to regroup and pay attention to some things that I wasn't able to do before because I was running. And I was able to catch up a little bit. I was able to rest a little bit, which was important to me because, again, I am, you know, Sierra's dad died 11 years ago. We were married 25 years. And so I'm a caregiver, you know, single mom and all that, widow. And, you know, she adapts very well. You know, sometimes I wonder, you know, I'm almost thankful that there's some things she doesn't understand. Because she just keeps it moving. She does not get sad. She doesn't, you know, she doesn't know what's happening. The only time she knows what's happening is if I'm not around. She knows when I'm not around, if I'm gone for a period of time. So we're adjusting. We're blessed in that, you know, even though I do have to go and come, I don't go too often. And I can take her out in the car and take her for a drive and, you know, visit one or two people, like the lady who lives around the corner who has been taking care of her for all these years. So that's about it. We haven't had too much family. We don't have family here. I have a brother who works 25/7, so I hardly ever see him. And the rest of the family is up north. So we haven't seen family in over a year. And so, that's the part that, of course, everybody hates. You can't see your family.
Right.
But I'm loving Zoom because we at least see each other on the computer.
Very good.
So, you just adapt. You have to work around it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like now you said that she's involved with her with the rehabilitation program, and so now they're doing things. So they're doing Zoom as well.
They're doing a Zoom program online where they have little programs. They do. Friday is dance day, so they just have a DJ on Friday that plays music, and they always have little parties once a month at least. But Monday through Thursday, they have programs where they're it's generally only about an hour, from like 11 to 12. But and I have to work around that too because I only have the one computer. So
Yeah,
it's like, so I don't make any meetings right now. I try not to have any meetings around that time where they're going to be doing Sierra's day program thing.
Right.
So it's been challenging, but she, when they call her name, she perks up. Generally, she's not really paying attention. Sierra doesn't really watch television. She really doesn't pay attention to things that are videos and all that, especially if there's no music. But they'll call her name and she'll talk back and say hi and interact. So it's challenging. I can only imagine. I mean, she's not medically fragile. She's not. Some of these families, they have a real challenge in keeping their children engaged and keeping them stimulated. I wish it could be different, but I mean, this is where we are, and we just have to kind of fill in where we can. As caregivers, as parents, as whoever it is that's close by, I play with her a lot more than I used to. I'll take time and we'll sing because she loves to sing along. She doesn't say the words, but she likes to sing along anyway.
That's right. And I've had the pleasure of hearing her sing, and I love it. And I've had pleasure of seeing her see you sing, and she will climb up on stage and sway with her mom. I love it. Sierra is amazing. And I mean, like you said, the one thing that's interesting though in all this is the whole technology aspect too, because and Diane, you can speak to this too, because a lot of the population that we serve have like devices that they use or have had tablets and iPads and other types of technology, and now they're using them in a different way. So how is the technology looking for you with these families that aren't,
Yeah, well, I mean, I think obviously, you kind of realize also what they kind of used to call the digital divide, right? So there's the haves and the have-nots. And so we know that for some families, just connectivity is an issue, where we've tried to, we offer a lot of day services around the state and which are closed. And so for the people that live with us that would have attended one of those day programs, we have staff in the home and they're really hands-on doing the activities and keeping people busy and doing stuff. But for the people that we support in day services who still live at home with their folks, like Norma's daughter, we've tried to, again, hook them up through Zoom with tablets. We've given them the devices for people that feel like they're capable of managing that. But I think, when you look at the kind of the curve of people that we support that are out there that have needs, some people are able to engage and access that and enjoy it, the screen time, and other people, like Norma, you were saying about your daughter, that's really not her thing. So everybody's well-intentioned and trying to, like they say, make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, right? We're just trying to make the best of this and keep people feeling connected to whatever degree they're able to. And then recognizing again that, not everybody has access. The more rural parts of the state or whatever, for economic reasons, people may not have connectivity and that kind of thing. And those disadvantages really come to the fore. And it makes me wonder, we know that we form a circle around the people that we support and do the very best we can. But I think about typical kids and families who don't have access and can't do all that's expected of parents right now, which is an awful lot.
Right. Well, I mean, and you're right with regards to the technology. It's not for everyone, and just like Norma was saying, everybody's not engaged in that. And so some of the things that they're doing it's just a regular day. The only thing that's different is that they can't go to their day rehabilitation programs if that's
Right, they're not leaving the house.
or they're not
right.
able to go out and do some of those things. So for them, it may not necessarily be always a technical issue, but more, like you said, of a social issue
Right.
on,
You miss it.
for those who like to go out and be able to connect.
Yeah,
And
So
that's the same thing with typical
environment.
children.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry, Norma.
No, I was just saying, same thing with typical children. They miss the
Exactly.
interaction with their friends, and
exactly.
so do our children.
Exactly. That you know, it's amazing. It's amazing how you know the divisions and the divides. All of a sudden, everything becomes a level playing field.
Right.
It levels out, and you don't see as much of the difference because now, you know, for some people that's their regular existence. For typical and for people with special needs. So
Right.
you know it definitely leveled the playing field there, and has, you know, just I think more of the care has been something that's you know, would be the biggest issue. Just making sure that you're having people.
Probably more intense, like
Yeah.
for Norma, where you're really far more 24/7 than maybe you would be under non-COVID circumstances, because Sierra would be leaving during the day and you'd have a couple of free hours during the
Right.
day.
Right.
But I think, Kim, to your point about kind of leveling the playing field, I think in if we try to again make something positive out of what's not really a great situation,
Right.
is that I think, and that's why I think your program is so important, because helping people understand that as different as we may see ourselves from someone with a disability, this experience shows us how much the same we are, because we all have emotions and we all feel things, and we may not be able to articulate those feelings, but people that know us and care about us can sense how we're feeling, right?
That's
So, you know, we're bored and depressed or angry or frustrated or all of those things. That's the great equalizer, right?
That's
Because
right.
we all feel those things. We may just not be able to articulate it.
That's it. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
It could not have been said any better with that, because that's exactly what it is. It does. It puts us in a space of trying to, you know, just figure out how to navigate. Everything is about adaptation. Everything is about adjustment. You know, so when we're put in a place where we're unable to do something, just like those who are disabled, if there's something that they're not able to do, then we try to find innovative ways and different ways to be able to,
Exactly.
you know, to create that peaceful existence that we talk about coping, creating our peaceful existence. That's what it's about. Being able to say, okay, we can't do it this way, but how can we do it? So
Right.
with
Right.
that
And
being,
really focusing in on what those abilities are, like you were saying, you know, because there are so many. You know, Sierra may not be able to sing the words, but she can carry a tune.
that's
And
right.
so, you know, we try to maximize that. And I'm actually on a board of a group called Show Ability. And that's an organization that works to help people with performing artist abilities who may have also some intellectual or other types of disabilities. But they can sing, they can dance, they can do spoken word, they can act, whatever it is that they can do. This particular organization wants to be able to, you know, give them an opportunity to like I said, everybody deserves a stage. That's their
That's right.
tag.
That's
And
awesome.
but also the venues. I mean, they want to be, because I know when I take my daughter out, I don't like for her to miss anything. You know, a lot of these places are not really accessible for you to bring your family and friends. You know, if you're somebody who's in a wheelchair like my daughter is. So those are the kind of things that Show Ability focuses on. And just so this is a little plug, we have a live concert, and it's going to air at the end of the month. They're having a little gathering, and I'll make sure you guys get some information about it.
Okay.
Ew.
But
Awesome.
the point is that, you know, the abilities and honing in on whatever those might be is really kind of important,
Right.
so that we
Right.
can, you know, maximize whatever potential they may have.
That's it. So, like I said, so here we are. We're in 2021, and you know they're talking about vaccinations and all of these other things. Diane, what are you hearing about that? I mean, with regards to the
Oh my.
vaccination, are they going to, you know, what's being said. I'm trying to figure out now that we're in this, of course, the show is How Now. So we're talking about how are we navigating in this space now?
It's this whole vaccination business is really cumbersome and complicated and a challenge. Every state had to submit a plan to the feds of how they were going to categorize people and how they were going to deliver the vaccine.
Right.
So in Georgia, the first responders, hospital workers, all those kinds of people, and then to essential workers. So thankfully, like our staff at the homes are considered essential workers, so they can be vaccinated. The individuals can be vaccinated because they're residents of long-term care. They're in the same big bundle of people as nursing home folks or assisted living folks or those people. And then we know just the ordinary 65 and older crowd. Well, so then the vaccines arrive in Georgia. What was it, a couple of weeks ago, maybe now a month ago, and they're given to every local health department.
Mm-hmm.
And Georgia's a big state. I don't know if you know this little tidbit, but Georgia has more counties than any state in the country.
That's right.
159.
A lot of little kingdoms out there.
That's right.
And so it's a complex task given to all of these different entities who see things differently, understand regulations differently. So the long and the short of it is trying to schedule the people we support for receiving the vaccine, and also for our staff who want for them to receive the vaccine. We have one staff person who's done nothing but try to coordinate this for about 2 weeks. And we still have not had one vaccine yet. So it's just all of this groundwork. So it's very cumbersome. And, one of the things that we're going to devote, we've already started, but devoting more and more time to, which I think you all can understand, is that our workforce is brown and black for most part, right?
Right.
And there is a lot of cultural myths, I would say myths, about vaccinations and all kinds of things, and distrust. Maybe not just myths, but an element of distrust. Mm-hmm. So we've, Morehouse University has done a lot of work around this to try to educate the community to not be fearful of this, to really do get the vaccine. So we're working to roll out a lot of education so that we can help encourage our staff to really seriously consider the vaccine versus automatically closing the door and saying, vaccine, no, I'm not doing it. And I think it's important for people to understand that there's some who think, well, the vaccine's out there. If I get vaccinated, I'm never going to get COVID. That's not really the case. What the vaccine is going to do is prevent you from getting deadly ill from COVID. It's not going to stop you from getting it. So, I think COVID's with us for the duration, right? But if we can help encourage people to minimize their risk, I think that's what we're about, certainly for the people we support, and then also for our staff, the caregivers and caregiver families, because, like Norma, what happens when, God forbid, Norma would get sick, right?
That's something that I think about all the time.
That's in your mind.
Always. It's always in the back of my mind. And that's one of the reasons why, your emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual health is so important. And
oh my gosh.
Reaching out to parents, like, having a peer group or having somebody you can talk to. There's so many parents who, even before COVID, having a child with disabilities is not easy, especially if they're medically fragile and, especially the newer parents. I mean, Sierra's 32 years old, but I didn't know what I was doing when she was a baby. And so, that's a real issue, especially the mental, because, if you don't, God was everything. He brought me through the doubt and gave me the strength to do what I needed to do for my child. But not everybody can handle it, and they feel alone. And so this is a time where we really have to reach out to other moms who are maybe going through some things and really just try to be available, even if it's through the phone or through Zoom or whatever, for them to talk. Because one of the reasons why, we just have to be listening for
Right.
somebody who may be having a
Yeah, and that support network is so important, I think.
very
Yeah.
important. It's very
Yeah.
important. And
I
I
mean,
happen to have a small one. It's one that I know I can depend on. Um, and it's important to me. If I
It's
didn't have
quality, not quantity.
that's right.
huh?
She said it's
Quality, not
quality.
quantity. Quality.
Yeah, exactly. They have to be. I don't trust anybody. These are people I've known for years.
Right.
Right.
And so I have to be very particular about who takes care of my child. She's nonverbal, and she's a young woman, and she's a pretty young woman.
Right.
And I just don't take any chances. So there's so much that's involved. But I really encourage families to really, if they need to talk to anybody, if they need to, because I hear somebody, it just bothers me when you hear people who take themselves out because
Right.
they don't know what else to do. And
Right.
in this time, it's very trying, very, if you don't have hope and if
Right.
you don't have strength, it can really bring you down. And so I strongly encourage people to go get massages and go take care, have the self-care, especially if
Yeah.
they're a caregiver. And well, I do a monthly massage. I just started doing that last year
Good for you.
when I turned 61.
Uh-huh.
I gave it to my birthday. I said I'm gonna get a massage every month. It
Right.
relieves the stress for me.
Right.
It took me that long to do it, but I was gonna start doing it, and it helps a lot. And sometimes you just have to do that for yourself. And a lot of parents, because we're the last ones we think about. We're doing everybody else's
That's
thing,
right.
trying to take care of everybody else, and it's so important. And so I really would like to encourage any mom who's listening to this or any family member who has somebody who's taking care of the child to support that person by letting them have their me time.
That's right.
And really de-stress wherever possible.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
you touched on that, and like I said, I want to roll back just a little bit about that. Being able to educate families and providers and things like that. And I think that Diane, hats off to you for partnering with Morehouse and for trying to make sure that we are educated about the things that are going on, because a lot of things are based in fear and uncertainty, and if we don't know and we don't educate ourselves, we can't make the types of decisions that need to be made for our lives. I know there are a lot of people that we're talking about, I'm not sure, I want to wait a little bit of time, myself included. I was kind of like, I kind of want a little wait and see, there's new strands coming up and you're just not sure. So being able to educate,
certainly. I mean, I think what we can do is provide the information and be available to answer questions and then be respectful of the decisions that people make. But we want to make sure that they're making a well-informed decision. There is no right answer to this. It's your right answer. It's not what I think anybody should do, because all of us feel differently about this.
Exactly, because I don't like getting the flu shot. I'm not somebody who likes injections.
Yeah.
I've never had the flu shot, and neither has Sierra. So I'm not rushing to get the injection. But I agree that people need to have the information.
Absolutely.
So they can be armed with what they need to have and make their own individual decisions. So
absolutely,
they just need to have the right information.
I was going to say, you nailed it, Diane, when you said that. You said, it's giving them that information and then allowing them to make that decision and not, holding it against them if they decide consciously to not do it or to do it, but at least equipping them, at least arming them. That is not just saying, well, I just don't want to do it because I'm just not going to do it.
Right, and that's why we made the decision organizationally that we are not requiring or mandating people get the vaccination. Wow. I think that's too much of a personal choice. I just want people to be able to make an informed choice.
Right.
And that's so important. I mean, and that's part of the challenge too, because this is something that I always wondered about. Sierra, like I said, is 32, and a lot of the information that's out there, there's many organizations and a lot of the information is still not getting to the parents. It's grassroots effort. Somehow, there's a lot of critical information that's still not getting to the families. I don't get it. But I mean, this has been something I didn't find out until Sierra was 14. There was something called respite.
Wow.
So,
see that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, it's so, and I was one of those people who was actually looking, whatever, but you have to know what questions to ask because,
you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Exactly. And I've learned a lot of what I've learned from another parent who's gone through it, not necessarily from some of the places that's supposed to be there to provide the resources. It's the strangest thing, but I'm hoping that we can get better at some of that communication.
I'm hoping that this pandemic has at least opened up the platform for discussion on some of the things that can be done, some of the things that are some of the services and things that are available that people don't necessarily know about. And just like you said, you don't know what you don't know. But when the whole world stops, then people start looking for answers, then people start digging. Or when they start to spend more time with their families and seeing that there are certain needs that are not being met, then they can go out and start saying, okay, I'm noticing this. I didn't notice it before. I thought that this service was provided. And now people are starting to ask the questions. So that's what things like this, that's what this show is about. Other shows are about just trying to open that platform to be able to have a conversation about it, so that way we're bringing things to people's attention and saying, okay, the more we know, the best way we can get from that fear stage to that information stage to that stage of growth where we can now reach back and help others and bring others along, so that way we can get to that space of peace. And to piggyback on what you said, Norma, about self-care and taking care of yourself, just like you said, as a provider, as a parent, for you taking care of Sierra, and being able to do some things for yourself, because just like they always say, you can't pour from an empty cup. Your cup has to overflow so that you can pour into others. So I love that you say that self-care and massages and things are important, so that way you're in a good mind space. You're putting the oxygen mask on yourself, so that way when Sierra has needs, you can go about meeting them and not from a space of depletion. So I love that that's how you're living in the now.
Exactly. If anything happens to me, her whole quality of life changes. I pray every day that God lets me live a long time, but you don't know. But I have to take care of myself. I have to walk when it's not too cold outside. I walk every day for at least an hour and a half, and that's my quiet time, talking to God time.
Nice.
Yeah, not when it's cold today, like today, no. Today was that's a cold day. But I try, and like I said, I'm in my 60s now, and so you got to do what you have to do to stay active,
right?
Because as you get older, you start feeling pains and everything else, and you just don't. It happens. So I'm doing what I can to give myself the energy and the vitality that I need to take care of Sierra and still do what I need to do for me, so that we both can have the best quality of life, if at all possible, on whatever time we have left. And because if I can't, she won't have a great life if I don't have a great life. And so my goal is to do it so that we both can have the time we have left. We want to get into the wheels fall off, as they say.
That's right. That's wonderful. And like I said, that's important. Now, Diane, for you, what are some of the things that you're doing personally, to live in the now and to navigate in this space? Because I'm sure it's stressful to govern these organizations, and you have to have just as much going for you to help, to be able to pour into those.
We've all got to fill our tank one way or another, right? And I think what Norma was talking about is so true. And hats off to you, Norma, for recognizing the importance of fueling yourself so you can be there for your daughter, and so that you have a quality of life too, that you're not just Sierra's mom. So I think that's really admirable, and hats off to you. But I've always been, I think I'm really fortunate in two ways. Number one, I've never, and people don't even believe this, but it's really true. In my nearly 40-year career, I've never had a day that I didn't want to go to work. I love what I do.
Wow.
So, what they say, when you love what you do, it's not really a job, right?
That's
so,
right.
That's really, absolutely no joke. Wow. Aside from the challenges of dealing with government bureaucracies and, obviously having several hundred employees, there's challenges in all of those things, but I love every single day. And I can say that with all sincerity. Yeah. And I think the other thing that I'm very fortunate about is that while I do bring it home, there's no question about that. But I think that I'm able to find a time to kind of tune it off and turn it off. My husband and I are empty nesters, and we've kind of said that that this COVID period, maybe we need, in a funny way, we needed a little social distance because now we're together like 24/7, right?
Right,
Now,
right.
we've been married for 40 years, going on 41. So that's
Wow.
okay. So we obviously can navigate through that. But that time with my spouse is so important. He's a person that has a great sense of humor, so we always are laughing and joking. Family time and just real downtime, binge watching TV programs and some outdoor time. And we have a little cabin that we go to and on a lake, and I get away and we go on the boat and do some stuff there. So
Yeah.
just those kinds of things to refill.
See, that's wonderful, and that's what it's all about. Like you said, we cannot pour from an empty cup, and the work that you both do
Sierra just woke
tirelessly
up.
to advocate. Oh, there goes my girl.
Hey there.
Hey,
Hi,
Sierra.
Hey, Sierra.
Hey,
How are
Sierra.
ya?
For those who are listening, Sierra
Hi.
just hopped on. Say hey. Hey,
Say
Sierra.
hi.
Hi,
There she
love.
is.
How you
Hey, ma'am.
doing?
Say hi.
Hi, honey.
Hi.
Hey. That's
Good
Miss
to
Diane.
see
She heard
you.
me talking, so
Kim,
she
hey.
wants to come and visit. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, she's leaving now. Bye.
Okay.
See you later.
It was nice to meet her.
Yeah, she did a little cameo. So yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
See you
Right?
later.
Yes.
boo.
I love her with all my strength. She is just a doll baby. I used to love when
Yeah,
we were, in church, just her coming up and, going over and giving her a little squeeze, everything like that. I miss those times.
Yeah, I know.
Really, but
Before we know, it'll be back to normal.
there you go.
Looking
There you
forward to
go.
it.
Now, before we wrap things up here, I want to give you all an opportunity to, give some contact information so people know how to get in contact with you. We'll also make sure that we have it available when your show airs, but we want to also, give you an opportunity to tell people how they can get in contact with you. And we'll start with you, Diane.
Okay. Our United Cerebral Palsy office is in Atlanta, off of Chamblee Tucker, right inside Spaghetti Junction. And my phone number is 770-676-2000. So we're in and out of the office now, kind of spacing people out, but I'm always there and can get messages and so forth. And I'm really great about email, so I'll give you my email address as well, if you don't mind.
Okay.
It's D as in dog, Wilush, WILUSH @ucpga.org. And that's also our website, www.ucpga.org. If people want to learn more and read about us. So thank you, Kim.
Absolutely. All right. And Norma?
Hey, well, you can reach me at normastanley.com. And of course, I'm on Facebook and Twitter at an elected lady. At an elected lady. That's the name of my book, so that's a whole nother story.
An elected lady?
An elected lady, that's Twitter. But if you go to normastanley.com, you'll find out everything you need to know about me. And the contact number is 678-50. What's my number? 508-3744.
Wait, say it again, honey. 508.
3744.
3744.
And
Okay.
my email is eeemarketinggroup@gmail. You can meet me at my Gmail account. EEE. My company is EEE Marketing Group, so that's the Gmail account. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you both so very much for being here. Do you have any other parting words that you'd like to leave with our listeners? Any words of encouragement, any words for those who may have members of their family that are part of the disability community, just a little something to sign them off.
I would just say that it's a bump in the road. We'll get through it. Hold tight and reach out. That's the other thing. We're here. Norma, all other kinds of organizations. If you need some support, you need somebody to talk to, we're here and happy to help.
Absolutely. And don't give up on yourself. Don't give up hope. Always look at the positive. Because what you think about is what you draw. So think positively about everything, about whatever it might be, situation that might be in your life that seem negative, focus on the positive and draw in the positive. And you'd be surprised how well that works.
That's right. That's right. Oh my goodness. Okay. And that's how we're living in the now. I'd like to thank you both for being with me. I love you both dearly. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedules to come in and support. And we just look forward to, like I said, the road ahead, and we're going to, hold hands and do this together.
Amen.
That's what we're going to do. Amen. So I'd like to thank you all for joining us for another edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. Make sure that you take care of yourself and each other. And until the next time I see you all, I say peace. And we're done.